lot of the Ojibways love to live by the water, right? I lived at Christian Island for the early part of my life, and at first we didn't have no hydro. We were just living by the coil oil lamps and the heat of the wood stove. We used to see the aurora borealis. We used to play under them. To us it was so natural. We weren't scared of it or nothing. They were so colorful, and because we didn't have no music on the island, you can hear them. You can hear the scratching sound, or maybe somebody wiping the sky. Just listening to a stream or a brook is really something to hear too as well, right? You can actually hear the music. Fire makes music too. Fire seems to draw you. It's very relaxing. Even watching a storm is really amazing. I remember when we used to hear the thunder coming. Dad would say, oh, our grandfathers are coming. You can hear the boom, boom, boom coming, right? Boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, bang, it's right underneath you. I used to love that too. Being in my parents' home, being in my own bedroom and listening to the rain. Just listening to it hitting our home. Our ancestors called the thunder beings our grandfathers too as well, eh? Creator gave us a lot of music, really, eh? Even the trees, when they flow back and forth, you can hear it. One of our healing things is they tell us to go sit by the water. Just sit there and just listen. Yeah, music is a big thing. And there's people that are gifted without having to go to school. They just grasp it. Back in the day when they were singing, you know, the men, the drummers, and you know how high some of them can get their voices up so high. They must have picked those sounds up from out the birds. You don't know you have that talent inside of you until you start. One day you do something, hey, I can do this. I remember when finally hydro came to the island and they started blasting, and how they were cutting down the trees, making path for the hydro poles to go on, and how all of a sudden we had light, and and then the snakes disappeared. So it slowly started to change, and one morning, us kids, we used to go to school in Midland, and one morning we came down, and there was fish floating on top of the water. Yeah, from the hydro poles, from the oil from the hydro poles. And here we were having fun on the hydro poles, jumping up and down on them and see who could go underneath and then come out swimming at the other end, you know. We didn't even understand what was really going on, but we were concerned about the fish though. Corporations have done a lot of damage to Mother Earth and to our native reserves too, where they just come in and rape it and put all kinds of chemicals in our communities, you know, and then they just got up and left, didn't even clean it up. Money is very important to some of those people. That's the only way they see life, I think. Makes you think that way anyway. So keep on doing the marches, keep on bringing the awareness. I remember when we walked for our status rights, for our native status rights, when we walked in Toronto. It was amazing to see that amount of native people show up. Because we weren't considered Canadian. We weren't considered Canadians until in the 1980s, and then we became recognized as Canadian. We were just Anishinaabe living in Canada, our country. It's really crazy when you look at it. The crazy-minded thinking of people, you know, politicians. I don't like the name of a reservation. I always hated that. Indian reservation. I never liked that. And I thought that's like being cattle, ignoring us as human beings with an identity. We have our own rights, our own spiritual laws, and our own rules and regulations, you know, regarding the environment, the animals, you know, when our men could go hunting and how much they could take, and so on, you know, even fishing. Because fishing was a big thing where I grew up. When the men went fishing, they would share with their neighbors, you know. And I never ever, since I became a young woman, I never ever liked the idea of us carrying status numbers. I just like that. It's like we're animals, you know. I don't like that at all. But our people still have lots of work to do. I think some of them are scared to move forward. It's usually the woman that'll